The biggest hurdle that Caitlin Clark needs to overcome is her head coach.
This is how Caitlin Clark fans have felt all season long, that Stephanie White is just not the right coach for Caitlin Clark. And now, after what she said in her interview with Fever Insider, whatever respect fans had for her after the Fever's playoff run is gone. Now fans are begging Caitlin to leave. Not just leave Indiana, but leave the whole WNBA. Go somewhere she's really appreciated. Let's talk about what Stephanie said, why people are so mad, and what some folks might not understand. But first, a quick little poll. Do you think Stephanie White is the right coach for Caitlin? Type a Y in the comments if you think yes. Type an N if you think no. So yeah, I watched the whole interview Stephanie White did on Fever Insider. I listened to her talk about how tough the team is, their playoff run, and even the book she's reading. And to be fair, she did say some nice things about Caitlin. She said Caitlin is mature for her age, called her Taylor Swift 2.0, said she loves her teammates, loves to compete, and even compared her to LeBron and Tiger Woods. Said she's amazing at what she does. But that's not what everyone's talking about, because there were two things later in the interview that made fans really angry. The first was when Stephanie started complaining about social media, about how mean people are online. You know, like, it's a great tool for lots of reasons, but she said it's become a negative place. And it's just full of hate now, and she said she doesn't want that in her life anymore. First, that doesn't sound bad, right? But it fits into a long pattern of players and coaches complaining about social media. And let's be honest, those complaints almost always end up being about Caitlin Clark's fans. Even though, if we're real, those fans are just fighting back against one of the biggest gaslighting campaigns in sports history. This whole idea that everything good that's happened to the WNBA in the past 2 years isn't because of Caitlin. It's because of everyone together. And because the media and players keep saying that nonsense, Caitlin's fans have made it their job to call it out, mostly by saying why they never watched before Caitlin came along. That's where all those May Bounds memes came from. Normally, fans wouldn't roast a player's bad shooting this much, but because the league and media keep hyping up Angel as this huge star who grew the league, and Angel acts like she believes it. Like, yeah, people watch women's basketball not just because of one person, but because of me too. Fans have zoomed in on her flaws. And since almost all the new fans are Caitlin Clark fans, they want to see her play like she did in Iowa. Fast, fun, shooting from the logo, full of energy. They don't want to watch Steph White's boring slow game. And that's where the problem is. It's crazy when you think about it. How can you take over a team with the league's biggest star and build a system that doesn't revolve around her, and then act surprised when fans get mad?
You know, it's a great tool for a lot of different reasons. I just think it's become such a negative space, and it's just become a cesspool for negativity. And right now I'm at a point where I don't need or want that in my life.
This is exactly right. Sure, Stephanie can stay off social media if she wants, but the negativity she's talking about isn't random hate. It's frustration. It's fans getting upset because they're tired of watching her misuse Caitlin Clark, making her play without the ball and holding back what makes her amazing. And there's a lot of proof that shows Stephanie White doesn't really want to build the team around Caitlin. She once said she liked how the Mavericks played when Luka wasn't there because it let more players touch the ball. But Luka, just like Caitlin, is a playmaker. That's what makes him special. She also said she wasn't worried about Caitlin coming back after her injury. She was more focused on making sure Caitlin fit into the system. We've all seen that interview where Caitlin said she got pulled aside that magical night when she hit 3 deep threes in a row and scored 32 points against the Liberty, just because she had one turnover. We've also heard Caitlin say herself that she needs the ball in her hands more. I've shared all those clips in my videos before. Stephanie has a system she wants to run, but it seems totally opposite to Caitlin Clark's style, and even more opposite to what fans actually want to see. But that clip isn't what really made fans angry. It was when Stephanie started talking about Kelsey Mitchell and basically made it sound like Kelsey is the top priority.
We're saying let Caitlin do her thing. You are forgetting. You knew the spotlight Caitlin Clark had before you got here. You knew that before you got here. You signed up to be under the microscope and in the spotlight. That's part of the reason you came. That's part of the reason a lot of these players came, Natasha, because y'all wanted to gain off of Caitlin Clark's celebrity and clout. And y'all came over here so y'all can get clout. But you didn't like the other side of the coin, which was there is going to be a level of scrutiny. You are going to be held accountable. If you want to go somewhere where nobody cares and nobody's watching and you can stink it up, go to the Atlanta Dream. Nobody will be talking about you.
Now, to be fair, when Stephanie talked about priorities, she was really talking about free agency. So I'm not taking that part too seriously. And even when she said Kelsey deserves this stage of her Fever career, now that the team is finally winning, I can let that slide. I think what she meant was that Kelsey went through all the tough losing years. So now, getting to play in front of big crowds and in the playoffs feels like a nice reward for not giving up. But honestly, that's not the real problem. Here's the part where people really started to lose it.
And I guess with the offseason too, Amber mentioned in her exit interview that the number one priority was to land Kelsey in free agency again. Just how important was she to your team this year? How important has she been to the Fever? Obviously, the 8 years she's been with the franchise, and how badly do you want to keep her around?
I mean, yeah, she was the number one priority a year ago, and she's the number one priority this year. She's been so important. And, I said this last year, Kelsey deserves to go through this stage of her Indiana Fever career. She's been through sort of the worst of the worst, for lack of a better term, in and out of the building, growing pains with getting the organization back. You don't get back-to-back number one picks unless you've been at the bottom for a while, right? And she showed up like a pro every day.
That's it right there. When she said, "We want to continue to build around her success." The key word is continue, because that's exactly what Caitlin Clark fans have been upset about when it comes to Stephanie White and the Fever in general. It doesn't look like they're building around Caitlin. It looks like the opposite. They're trying to make her squeeze into Stephanie White's system. And that's what makes fans so mad, because more than half of the WNBA's audience is watching to see Iowa Caitlin, not Connecticut Sun style Caitlin. Maybe Stephanie just said it the wrong way. Maybe she meant she wants to build around Kelsey along with Caitlin, Aaliyah, and Lexi. But that's not how it sounded. That's not how fans, or even WNBA analysts, took it.
We love her. We want to continue to build, around her and continue for her to have success.
The feeling fans got from that is that Steph White likes Kelsey more and actually thinks the team plays better without Caitlin. Tell me what you think about this in the comments, but I feel like some of it comes from the choices she makes during games, and also from how she talks about Caitlin off the court. Like, she'll go out of her way to praise Kelsey's accomplishments, but when it comes to Caitlin's, she kind of hides them or plays them down.
What is it with this rite of passage thing in the WNBA? Well, she's been around the league forever. Don't care. Okay, that's great. But Caitlin Clark is your generational talent. You just said on camera you want to build around Kelsey Mitchell? Really? All right. Wow. Oh, I seem to be under the remembrance that people said this was a conspiracy theory. No, that's Stephanie White I'm telling you right now, I believe Stephanie White believes Kelsey Mitchell's the best player on this team. That's on a team that's got Caitlin Clark on the team, on the roster.
Bring up Sue Bird. Yes, Sue, you're cool. No, I don't care. Bring up Brianna. Nah, I don't care. So even when Stephanie White got a direct question about Caitlin Clark's achievements, she found a way to dodge it and start talking about players from the past instead. And he's right, I've seen the clip. She was asked to say something about Caitlin winning an award, and right away she started giving credit to the old guard, even though there was no real reason to. And that's exactly why fans reacted the way they did to her interview. The building around Kelsey comment just made it seem like Stephanie White is once again favoring a player who fits in with the old guard and holding Caitlin back because of it. It ties into a pattern that fans already believe is happening. And that's important because if you take away all that history and just look at the interview by itself, it honestly doesn't seem like a big deal at all.